Well, my friends, I am back, and of course, I am back with summer school for stitching. Off camera, I was busy working up all type of samples and prototypes and looking through some of the stitches, and man, I just wanted to, you just see so much, you want to start all the things. So I went back to what we just finished in the previous video, where I shared with you how stitches in the same family, how easy it is to remember them, and how to set them up so that you can always just have something on hand, or that you don't have to stress about or have to look up or try to remember. It's easy as just working the same setup over and over. All right, so now, since this is summer school, our little motto is, as we learn and grow as we go, and then we're going to apply. Because, after all, you want to apply what you've learned. So, hence, summer school for stitching. So, one of the last stitches that I shared with you, this is like elementary. But even that, you can make so many things that you just, it just kind of bounces off of you. But this was a broken rib stitch, because I use so much of the 1x1 or 2x2 or other rib stitches in most of our sweaters. And then I wanted to share with you how you can simply change one row. You work this row just like we do the 1x1 rib. We set it up. You know how we do that. But the second row, or the wrong side, you simply knit across. Does that make sense? So you work one row, and then you knit across the next, the second row. And it gives you this beautiful combination of 1x1 ribbing on the front, but on the back side, it's broken up. All right, so now I thought, well, let's apply this. I wanted to try. I was working on, I've been working on 2 or 3 at the same time, but this is the one that kind of popped out right away, so I'm going to go with it. So let me show you how we're going to apply this simple stitch. All right, you just need some practice yarn. Grab up some needles, appropriate needles, and I will be right back. All right, I'm back. And of course, if, all of you who follow me, the first thing that I gravitate to when I want to, make a prototype or design something is a sweater. That's just the way I am. I'd rather just start out something big than go make a scarf. But nothing wrong with scarves, because they certainly do come in handy. But here is a prototype that I started. I was so excited, and I thought, you know what? For my sweater, all my sweater fans, and I have quite a few of them now. It's hard to want to do big projects, but once you get it down, like I said, I really teach or share, try to make my steps pretty much the same steps as much as possible, so that you have muscle memory. You just like, oh yeah, I know exactly where I am. I know what to do next. All right, so I worked up this on some practice yarn. That's what we're doing. We're practicing. It's a summer school. I worked up this sample because this this broken rib stitch pattern I thought would make a beautiful high neck sweater. This is a Raglan. This is worked top down, and then along with that, to do the front edge, to continue the broken rib right on down the front edge of the sweater. So here's the prototype that I worked up, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I really like the way it looked. I think it's this side that you can see better. Okay, so as you can see, I did the broken rib as my neckband, and then for the front border, because I don't really like to pick up stitches, and if I can come up with a pretty little decorative stitch which is what I'm trying to get away from so much, just doing all the ribbon, 1 by 1 ribbon or 2 by 2. I just fall into that same little rhythm. Okay, but there are ways to do decorative neckbands, and that's what I want to try to share with you in all the upcoming new sweaters for fall. You can look at this and tell this is not a summer sweater. Remember, we're looking ahead. We're looking forward. We're getting things ready so when the fall comes, then I can, this is practice yarn, then I can get some real yarn. You can get some really nice yarn and be ready to go. All right, so as you can see, there is the broken rib coming right down the front. What a pretty edge. Look at that pretty edge that it makes. Let me make sure I kind of moved it so make sure it's on the camera. But look what a pretty front. These are just, you know, where I've been knitting. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is really pretty. And nice and cozy. I can see that in a fall color. I'm doing a light color and maybe a little thicker yarn just so that you can see what I'm doing. But when we actually start working, you will find some really nice yarn. If you like wool, that's fine. If you like a wool blend, whatever it is that you like, some hand-dyed, whatever. All right, but this is why I do prototypes, because I don't have written patterns and I don't have, you know, test knitters and all that. Well, you're my test knitters. Hey, you're my test knitters. I found, because I just went and grabbed up the same working formula or the schematic for my standard Raglan top-down sweaters or cardigans, either way, it doesn't fit this particular style of neckband. This neckband has as a 1 by 1 or 2 by 2, you know, it's elastic, it pulls in. Well, more decorative neckbands like we're going to be working, like I'm going to share with you. I have several that I'm working on. I hope you like them. But this is just so simple because we just covered this stitch. I thought, well, let's just do this broken rib. But it doesn't pull in. So the old, or the one that I normally would use, cardigan schematic, does not work on this. So guess what? I had to come up with a whole new schematic to bring these numbers in, because the neckband would be much too, see, it would just be much too wide, especially here in the back. That's where I had the problem. So I've worked up 2 prototypes. I scratched each one. You know, so, but you can see that it is much too wide to start the back of this sweater. I don't, you know, even if you're large, it's just much too wide. Too many stitches. So, let me get the schematic out and let me show you how I had to change to get this particular style. This is going to be a different style than our normal rib neckbands, cardigans, or sweaters. This is going to be, I'm going to call this decorative neckbands. Decorative neckbands where I'm going to put in decorative stitches or lace stitches or whatever. So we need a new schematic. All right, back in just a moment. All right, without further ado, let's get right into just my simple redesign of the schematic. I only had to make just a couple of changes, so it wasn't too much. All right, real quick, this is Jay's The Broken Rib Raglan. This is my redesign of this pretty top-down sweater we're going to use, this one is the broken rib. That's what it says, a broken rib. And, you know, my things are gauged to a US number 9. If you don't have a lot of fluff and you can fall into some of these sizes, then you're welcome to use a number 8. The yarn that I normally use calls for a number 8. But when I got so fluffy, you know, I just simply went up to a number 9 to give me a few stitches of positive ease. I didn't have to necessarily go up a whole 1 or 2 sizes. Just using that number 9 gives me a little ease. So, but if you're not real fluffy and you are a medium to large, okay, you can work these in a number. the yarn in a number 8 needle with yarns that will call for a number 8 needle. Does that make sense? Did I botch it? All right, let's get on. All right, medium to large. The sizes, my size charts, I still stand by the numbers that I have used over and over. Even though I have gained maybe more on the bottom, I've become more of the pear shape, but my top, I can still fit into my size that I'll be showing. But here's for the person who's medium to large. You may be a little, just medium to large. And on standard sizing, I don't do a lot of increases and decreases or form fitting. It's just virtually just plain and simple. Okay? 88 stitches is what I have used over and over on all my schematics for this size. Okay, now the increases I can only guesstimate, but we'll learn as we go. I just went ahead and put 25 times that we will be increasing this sweater 25 times for the most part. But let's get right on over here. This is what I want to get to. Here's a schematic of the sweater. Here's an opening down the front. All right. 88 stitches. I've said already that it's too large for this broken rib stitch because there's no pulling in the back of the sweater. So a schematic is just showing you how the rooms are set up. These are rooms in your schematic, in your sweater, and it just shows you how things are set up. But you can easily move stitches from one room to another. Just like in my house, I can move, I don't like this rug in this room now, and I bought something new, so I'm going to take the rug out of this room, put it in another room. The dimensions of the house are still the same. I just moved the rug. Or I took 2 lamps out of my bedroom and decided to put them in another room. Or we knocked the wall out the kitchen and made two regular size rooms into one long big kitchen. And I love it. Well, you can do this on a schematic too without changing. The numbers are sound. If your base number, this is my base number. My numbers are usually, always base numbers are even numbers. Most of them are divisible by 4, but at least divisible by 2. That's how I roll. Don't ask me how. That's just, it works for me. And I'm hoping and I'm trying to get it to work for you. It makes it so much easier to fit things into your sweater. So real quick now, I keep digressing here. All right, so the back, in these rooms, the back is the part that gave me the problem. So I said, why not take as many stitches out of the back as I could and bring the back number of stitches down. So on this medium to large, you're going to have 26 stitches in the back. Okay, each sleeve I've given you 2 stitches on each side, a little more than you normally would have. Normally this person has about 8. But I found that everybody, that I just feel that you need a little more room in the top of your shoulder, at your shoulder, and to help the sweater not to pull in one direction or another. So now 10 stitches on here for one sleeve, 10 stitches over here. I'm not going into how I got it. I'll just trust me. Then the front, we always want more room in the front. All women want a little more room in the front, especially as we're older, and a little more fluff. So this is 17 stitches, 17 stitches. Okay? Now if you add 17 and 17, 10 and 10, and the 26, you're going to get 80 stitches, which is what I want to be below the number of my base stitch. Remember, we're trying to bring the number down, but I'm taking the numbers out of the back. So I have 80 stitches. Okay, now to get back and to double check my math, if I add 8 stitches back to 80, I will come back up to the base number. And we will add these 8 stitches back once we finish the neckband. Once we finish the neckband and then we start the sweater itself, I will say stop and remind you we need to add 8 stitches to the back. We don't have to worry about adding anywhere else, just to the back. Whew. If that makes sense. I'm going to let it sit there for a little bit, and so that you can get a good screenshot of it if you are medium to large. But this is what the numbers mean on the schematic. Okay. The next size is me. Like I say, even though my bottom has gained, but my top is pretty much the same, or I can still work with these numbers. Here's the schematic for if you are a 1X to a 2X. I mean, you got fluff on you a little bit. You know you're 2X. You might be kind of bending over to 2X a little bit, but you still consider 2X, okay? 3X, when I put it on, it's just it's too large. So I'm still in the 1X to 2X. All right, right over here, let's just, my base number for this size remains the same, 96 stitches. If I was doing my regular Raglan, all the schematics before, I always have 96 stitches. All right, so now go over here to the broken rib Raglan. This is this one. My back, I'm going to have 28 stitches for the back. That brings it way down. I normally have 36, anywhere from 36 to 38 in the back for a regular when I'm doing the ribbing. Okay, well, I got to get rid of those stitches. So right now I have 28 stitches, and I added a couple of more to my sleeve on each side. So now my sleeve is 12 stitches, 12 stitches. My front, 18 stitches, 18 stitches. We always want more in the front. Now if I add all of these numbers up, I will come to 88 stitches, which is less than my base, which I need for it to be. In fact, it's 8 stitches below the base number. So for me, I cast on 88 stitches. And you know what I forgot to say right off the bat? Since we're doing this broken rib, you have to have 88 plus 1. So on my medium to large, it'll be 8. You cast on 80 stitches plus 1. Remember, we have to work with an odd number for the ribbing. We'll get rid of it. All right, so there is mine. I'm going to stop and let you look at it and get you a good screenshot if you are 1X to 2X. All right, let's go to the 2X to 3X size. It doesn't take that much to make sizes. I use 8 stitches to change sizes. All right, so here's a person, 2X or 3X. You're fluffed up and feeling great. Hey, you're feeling great in your own body, and you want to make this sweater. All right, your base number is 104 stitches. All right, over here, to get rid of some of the stitches, I got it down to 32. Your back number of stitches will be 32. All right, I made sure you had at least 12 stitches because we're about the same in the arms. So about 12 stitches here, 12 stitches here. 20, we need a little more in the front, so 20 stitches here, 20 stitches here. Now if you add these numbers up going around your schematic, you should come up with 96, 8 stitches below the base number. And eventually we will add the 8 stitches back to bring it back up so that we can knit the sweater when it's time. I will remind you. So you will cast on 96 stitches plus 1 because we need an odd number for even the broken rib for our neckband. I'll let you see that. All right, and I went ahead and tried to do one more just to have it. All right, you are 3X to 4X. Your base number is 112 stitches. All right, now when we go to the Raglan, I broke it down to get rid of the stitches in the back. All right, you will have 34 stitches in the back. 14, I went up 2 stitches because you may need more at the shoulder. So 14 stitches for this sleeve, 14 stitches for this sleeve. 21 stitches for the front, and it's going to grow, so don't worry about that. And 21 for this front. when you add your schematic up, you should have 104 stitches, 8 less than the base number. There's my 104, and there will be a place when we finish the neck ribbing. I will say stop. Everyone add back your 8 stitches to just the back section. And I will show you because I'm going to knit my little sample in real time. Let you see that. Now, all we have to do is get some practice yarn. I use, like I said, a US number 9 to just give the fluffier people like me just a little time. I've seen people have 4 and 5 inches of positive ease. No, we only need 4 or 5 stitches. Yarn stretches, people. You don't need that much. So instead of trying to figure all that, I just went up 1 needle size. That's why I use the number 9 when I got fluffier. But my size remains the same. Let's get ready to stitch. I'm going to start out and stitch our broken rib raglan sweater. Back in just a moment. Alright, we are ready to, you should go ahead and cast on your number of stitches and be sure to add the +1 because we are doing a rib stitch and I use the odd number. I like the odd number ribs. Alright, so once you're cast on, just like if we were doing our 1x1 ribbing for the sweater, the first row down here at the bottom, this is where you're down here at the bottom, will be a wrong side row. Alright, instead of having like 3 stitch border, I only do, you have that 1 stitch that I will use, just like I said, just like we normally do on the regular 1x1 ribbing. I will knit that first stitch. It's not part of the ribbing, it's just the little edge stitch. So I knit 1. Now, since this is the wrong side, it's the first row right here on the needle at the very bottom, I'm going to purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, all the way across. Purl, knit, all the way to this end. Since you made it an odd number, it will always come out. You will purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, and then the last stitch right here on the edge, you will knit. Some people do their slipping or knitting to the back, whatever, but I just knit the first and last stitch as I've done on all my sweaters. Now, that's the purl side. It's the side with the bumps for this particular broken rib stitch. Like I said, there are many versions, people. This is like the very simple. Alright, then when I turn the work, even though you're way down here, this is the right side of the work. All you have to do is just knit across all the stitches. Just knit all the way across to the very end of this row. Then, when you turn the work again, you will go back into, this is the wrong side, so I need to knit 1, starting here, the little edge stitch, and then purl 1, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, all the way across. And then back to the front, knit across the stitches. Now, for this practice, I'll give you some good tips about, what I think when we get ready at the end to, if you're going to go ahead and start knitting your sweater on some, on your sweater, on the yarn that you want your sweater in. But this little practice, go ahead and knit maybe 6 or 7 rows of this just to get the rhythm of it and get a nice piece of work to work from. And then stop when you get to the right side of the work again. Remember, the little bumps or beads are on the wrong side, but on the right side we're going to get ready to knit across, but we're going to add some markers as we go and go ahead and set in the beginning of our front edge. We're going to add that front edge and we're going to start it right away. So when you and set in all the markers for all the, your arms, your back, everything else. Alright, so do that and I will see you in just a few after you have, I have about 1.5 inches maybe, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 rows, just so that I can have something for you to see. Have plenty of stitch markers and I will see you in just a moment. Alright, so now we're all on the right side and we have some stitch markers. We got some very simple ones. So this side, on the right side, we simply knit. So what I want everyone to do, every size, to knit the first 9 stitches, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Knit the first 9 stitches and put a marker. That's going to be my band down the front, 9 stitches. Remember, if we're going to do the broken rib, we need an odd number, so 9. Now, I'm going to knit up. We're right here on my schematic. You're starting here. So 9 and 9 is 18, so I have 9 stitches left to fill out this 18, and then I'm going to put another marker. So let's go. So I've already got the first 9. That's the little border. Nice band. Now I'm going to knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now your schematic will give you the number. But the main thing is that the first 9 stitches you put a marker, and then you fill out with whatever the rest of the count is. So my total number for the first section of my schematic is 18 stitches. So whatever your first number here, now I'm going to add a marker that's going to tell me that this is where my increase of my sweater starts. So I'm going to stick me a marker. Now, hopefully that's not too close that you can't see it. Then the next thing on my schematic is a sleeve. My sleeve count is 12 stitches. So now I'm just going to knit over 12 stitches. 2, 11 and 12 stitches, and then add my second marker that tells me this is where I do, that sleeve stops there, and that's an increase marker. Then the next marker, I'm getting some yarn here. Just to save time, we'll go across the back, put in your number, and you will have an extra stitch. I would put in the extra stitch. Or should we take it out? You can leave it in. It doesn't really matter. But you know, as you knit across, since we made it an odd number, I would put in on the back, just here in this section, I would put in maybe that 1 extra stitch. We can either knit 2 together and take it out, or we can just let it ride. So when I'm counting the back, however many stitches you have across the back, make sure you take that 1 extra stitch, put it in there. Otherwise you're going to have an extra stitch when you get around here. And if you do, we just decrease it. We just knit 2 together. So if that's going to be if it's going to cause a lot of problem, those who have knit sweaters with me, you kind of know, but if you're new to this, since we made it an odd number, we have 1 stitch floating, an extra stitch. I normally put it in the back. It's just easy to just leave it in the back. So instead of 28, I'd have 29. Instead of your whatever number, you'd have that 1 extra stitch. Does that make sense? All right, then you'd put a marker. Then we repeat the same thing that we did on this sleeve, and a marker. I will see you as we get to the edge over here, so that I can remind you to put in your front border. All right, back in just a moment. All right, so I am just knitting around. I see that. I think I'm gonna have to change my markers so they'll show up and you can see. But all right, I'm down to the last 18 stitches, just like on my schematic. Your schematic, you have to look on your schematic. All right, I need to make sure that I leave the last 9 stitches. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I might just put this little thing here just to remind me to stop. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Okay. So I'm just knitting around. And I'll have all the main markers in place. Like I said, I may change colors when I go around again, but right now, as long as I have the markers in. Okay, and I'm coming up to the last 9 stitches, And I want to separate those because those are going to be my front edge border going down the front of my sweater on both sides, both fronts. So let's see, what marker did I have? Oh, I had a white one, so I'll try to put same marker. So I'm going to put a marker there. Now on the front side of the broken rib, remember we're on the front, so all we have to do is just knit. Just like this. We haven't done any increases or anything, or add back those 8 stitches, I'll remind you. But right now we're just trying to get our markers in place, just to make sure that everything, all our numbers were right and everything was correct. Alright, so now when I turn the work, I am on the wrong side of the work, and I have to go back into the ribbing for the border only. We're done with the neck ribbing except for this border. We got to keep it going. So I start again. Here we go. Alright, the first 9 stitches. I'm on the wrong side of the work. I knit, then I put the yarn in front, and then I purl. Then knit, yarning back. Then when I bring the yarn to the front, I can purl. Knit, then purl. Knit, and purl. And because I have an odd number, 9, I started with the knit stitch, that first one. So I put the yarn in back and I end right before the marker with this last knit stitch. Now that ends the front edge. That is the broken rib that we will work down the front of the sweater. But now bring my yarn to the front, slide the marker. Since I am on the wrong side of the fabric, I'm going to purl all the stitches till I get to the other end of this sweater. So I'm just going to purl. This starts the stockinette portion. When you knit on the front, purl on the back. Well, we're on the back, so we're just going to purl across. And I won't do that all on camera, but I just want you to, I'm going to turn it around so you can see. Slide the markers as you go. And I'll change my markers to try to make them, maybe I'll do the yellow one, maybe you can see those better. Because we will start our increase row, and I want you to be able to see. So I'm going to stop. I'm just going to flip it just so that you can see. Well, you can't see much. You can see a little bit. But I can take that out. Right here, you can see there's the neckband. Right there. All that at the top. Then you can see the neckband is going to continue down the front right here, and when we get to this edge. But the rest of it will be working stockinette. Knit on the front, do my little increases on the front, but on the wrong side, I'll just purl across the stitches, except for the little front edge. So let's continue to do that, and I will see you on the front side again. Now I'm purling since I'm on the wrong side, so I will purl and slide the markers as you go. You just slide them across. Alright, see you on the right side. Okay, I said I'll see you on the front, but I meant this opposite edge. As I'm purling across the wrong side, I just purl until I get to the last marker where I have the little, well, I'll set up my front edge border, the 9 stitches right there. You see the marker. Have a white, 2, 4, 6, 8, 1 is 9. Alright, so I slide the marker and the first stitch, remember, you knit, remember, it's knit, then purl, then knit, yarn in back, then purl with the yarn in front, then knit. You do this on the wrong side, then purl, knit, yarn in front, purl, and the last stitch should be a knit stitch because it's an odd number. We had 9 stitches. No matter what, we start with a knit and end with a knit. So there is the border, and it will start, you're going to notice it soon once we start doing more of the knit rows. All right, so when I turn, I still don't want to do any increases yet. It's too close to my neckband. It would just be a waste of time to start trying to do increases that close to the neckband. Can you see that? So what I suggest is let's knit. Let's just go right back into it. But we can increase our neck on this row. So I'm going to do another knit row. So here we go. First I start with the border. I just knit across because it's on the right side. This part is hard to not want to go back into the ribbing. So you just knit across on this broken rib. Just knit across, and we can add, everyone everywhere can add their 8 stitches. And I know what you're going to say right now. Well, Jay, we have that extra stitch. Can you do that? Yes, as long as you keep up with and don't get confused. I'm just trying to keep it and say it in a manner that, you know, I just don't want anybody to get confused. We always have, you know, people that are new. Those have been making sweaters with me. You know the drill. So I'm just knitting up, and I'm going to change these markers and put some yellow ones maybe. Maybe you can see it better, because I'm going to be... Alright, I just want to get on up to the back and just show you how to do a simple, really nice increase that you won't even notice. So on this row, we're not ready to add our increases yet. We're just going to knit over to the back. Here's this sleeve. Slide well, let's see if I got enough yellow markers. Oh, I hope I do. Here's one more, okay. So now I'm in the back section. So I have my 2 sleeves. There's the 2 little front edge panels. Now here's my whole back, and I need to add 8 stitches. And the easiest thing to do is just kind of with your eye, or you can just take something and kind of say, okay, that's the center. Well, that means I'm going to add 4 stitches over here and 4 stitches over here. Alright, just make it easy. I'm not going to count. I would try to add it on, I'm going to show you how to add it on a knit stitch. So I start around, and I'm just knitting, because this is the right side. Alright, and then I come to a knit stitch. Just let me get you a good one. You back up a little bit. This one here. You come to, about this one. Alright, you come to a knit stitch right off the bat. I want you to reach down and pick up that stitch that goes around. See that stitch right there? There's a stitch on the needle, and then you have this yarn going around it. Pick that up. Now take this left hand needle and go through the front. Go in from the front, and then knit that stitch you just made. Well, that's 1. Just keep going. Now you're going to have to tally. Oh, I got to have me a little tally sheet, because you know Jay can't remember. I got a little sheet of paper, so that's... Okay, so that's 1. I've got to do 8. Okay, then I knit a couple more stitches. I get to a knit stitch. You can tell the knit. I reach down. I pick that yarn that's going around the stitch, lift it up, and take the left needle and go in through the front. Go in this direction. See how I'm going through the front? Alright, now it's on the left needle. Now I'm going to knit the new stitch and the old stitch. And then I'm just going to knit a couple more stitches till I get to a knit stitch. That was 2, wasn't it? Oops, I'm almost getting... Better tally it. That was 2. Here comes... Alright, I'll do the 3rd one right here. So I'll come here, and I'll pick that strand up, pull up on it a little bit, take the left needle and go through the front like that. Now I have 2 stitches, and if you just knit them, since it's a knit stitch and we are knitting, this is the front of the work. Okay, 1 more on this side, and I'll get up to the next knit stitch. Here comes a knit stitch right here. Alright, I do the same thing. I reach down and grab that yarn that's around, lift up on it, take the left hand needle and go through the front. I can just knit. So that was 3 and 4. So I'm done on that side. And I go across my little center point. That's all it is, it's just a little center point. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You can count 1, 2, okay. So 1, 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's see, can I just kind of visual, they kind of count it or see it. So I'll pick up on that strand, and that's on this side. That's 1. Make sure you're on a knit stitch. Okay, so you can reach down, grab that yarn, go in from the front, knit it. That's 2. Here comes 3. And one last one. Here's 3. I'll make sure I mark it. Because it's, I mean, you can go back and try to find it, but it's a lot easier just mark it. Save yourself some whole lot of problems. Okay, I'm going to do 1 more right here. Pull it up on it, go take the left needle and go through the front. Now I can knit both those stitches. And I am simply knitting around. Let me just knit a few stitches and we'll stop and pull that open and take a look at it. Okay, so now in the back, I have brought my back up to the number it would have been if I had not taken the 8 stitches out. The neckline is still the same small number, but as we start this sweater out, it's going to widen the back out back to in the right proportion that it should be before we took out the 8 stitches. Plus, we probably have that 1 extra stitch, which is fine. It's no problem. I just let it ride. But at least it's not here or here, somewhere else that would throw off all these stitch counts. The back is the catch-all. The back and the neck is the catch-all. Extra stitch, put it in the back. Alright, I will work around, and then when we get here, you will go back in. This is the right side, so all we have to do is just knit off. I keep forgetting that, isn't it? It's so simple, I keep forgetting. So you will continue to knit around. Then, when you get to this end, then you'll start the purl back. You'll start with knitting, knit 1, purl 1, knit 1. You'll do that for, for your 9 stitches. Knit, and then purl, knit, purl, then slide the marker. Then purl all the stitches back till you get to this border. On this side, you will start with a knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and end with a knit. I will see you on the next right side row. Take your time. We will be ready to increase, and I'll let you decide which one you want to do. Some people don't like the yarn over, so I'll show you how to do the other one. Real simple. Alright, see you back shortly. Take your time now. Well, now we can go ahead. Everyone hopefully is on the right side of the fabric of our beautiful neckband and sweater start. We have all our markers in place. We have put back those stitches that we took out of the back so that we'll have the right stitch count. And so now we'll just start, and I'm going to work the first, show you the 2 increases. You can decide which one you like. But first of all, our pretty band right here on the front side of our broken rib stitch, all we have to do is just knit across. We don't have to do any work. It's on the wrong side that we do the work. So I just knit these stitches, drop some yarn. I wanted to make sure that I had something for all my sweater knitters out there. I get up to the marker and I slide the marker, because here's my first increase marker. I've got yellow ones this time. The green ones wasn't showing up, so I put yellow. So I need to just knit up. Now, the first increase, all right, if you don't want the yarn overs, some people, I guess, have a hard time, I don't know, but anyway. So the other simple increase is just knit into the front and back of the stitch. So in order to do that increase, you knit up to 3 stitches before the marker. Here's the marker, here's my 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3. Knit up to 3 stitches, and in this first stitch right here, you simply knit into the front, pivot, and go into the back of the stitch and knit it, just like that. Then you knit 2 stitches, stop, because we're going to slide the marker, and in the very first stitch after the marker on the sleeve, this is the front of the sweater, front edge, or front, front. This is the first sleeve right here between these 2 markers. When I slide the mark, I'm going to knit into the front and into the back of that stitch. Okay? Then I will knit all the way across, all right, till I get to the last stitch before the marker. See there, in the sleeve, when I get to that stitch, I will knit into the front and into the back, slide the marker, then you have to knit 2 stitches. Knit 2, everything has to be equal. Knit 2, then in this stitch right here, after I knit the 2 in this stitch, I knit into the front and into the back. Alright, then continue around. I didn't do it because I was going back out so that you can, so I can do the yarn over. And just remind you, for those that do the yarn over. Let's see, where's my, oh, here's my stitch here. Hold on a minute. See, can I grab my stitches back? Okay, then I put my marker on. Hold on. Oh, back out. Okay. Alright, so now those that want the eyelet, the yarn overs, we do it the same way. Alright, for the yarn overs, we knit up to 2 stitches before the marker. So we knit that stitch. Now there's only 2 stitches, and then there's the marker. Alright, this is when you do your yarn over, knit the 2 stitches, just like the other. Knit 2, slide the marker. Once you slide the marker in the sleeve, there's the sleeve now. Alright, now you're going to yarn over. Let me get my yarn. I think my yarn is tangled here. Alright, after you slide the marker, the first thing you do on the sleeve section, yarn over and then knit across. I'll just knit across real quick. And when you come to the opposite marker, okay, If you're doing the knit into the front and back, you'd go up to the last stitch right there and knit into the front and back. All right, for me, I'm going to knit that stitch and then do a yarn over, slide the marker on this side that represents the back of the sweater. I need to knit 2 stitches, 1, 2, then I will do a yarn over. If you were doing a knit into the front and back, you'd go to this stitch here. After you knit 2, you'd go to the next stitch, knit into the front, pivot, and knit into the back. Does that make sense? Can you see the difference between the two? And where everything, but you'll always have 2 stitches on my increases. All my sweaters, everything, I'm doing it the same, like we learned from the book from Melissa Leekman, because I thought it would be great to always have that in your mind, the back of your mind, how to increase on our sweaters or shawls or something, you know, that we're making. So I've knit 2, now I'm going to yarn over, and now I'm going to just knit across the back. Knit across the back, all the way, get to 2 stitches before the marker if I'm going to do the yarn over, or 3 stitches if I'm going to do the knit into front and back. I yarn over, knit the 2, slide the marker, yarn over. Alright, this is the sleeve now, so then I knit all the way across to the last stitch, knit the last stitch, yarn over, slide the marker, knit 2, 1, 2, yarn over, and then knit all the way across to the end. Alright, and of course when we turn the work, really simple. This is the wrong side, and this is the side we have to do our rib stitch. I simply knit 1, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and knit. I start with a knit, I'll end with a knit right here at the mark. I slide the marker, and then I'm simply going to purl all the stitches around till I come to this edge. Does that make sense? And I go back, once I get to the mark, I slide the marker, and I start with a knit 1, purl 1, knit 1, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, and end with a knit stitch right on the edge. Okay, so now there's that. So now you can get started, and I would do you know, some rows on this practice yarn. If you have some yarn in mind for this sweater and you want to get yours started, that's fine, but I won't join you back on this project until we get at least up to a number for our sleeve. Now, as you can see, I have worked some off camera just to give you so that you'll have a good visual of where we're going. This is just a really pretty fun knit. I have kind of tried this on around my shoulders, around my neck. I like the fit of the neckline for this this rib, but it's not like the original rib stitch that pulls in. And so I made some adjustments, and so far I am liking the adjustment. And of course I hope you will too. I gave you so now it's just start knitting. Everyone is knitting if you want to, or if the scrap yarn was just some ugly yarn that you had and you want to stop and say, okay, Jay, I might go ahead and look for me you know, some really good yarn to start working my sweater. That's fine. Like I said, the yarn that you will look for is something that is already gauged to a number 8. I use a number 9. I upped my, when I started making sweaters, to a number 9 because of the fluffiness I had gained over time. And it just gives me positive ease. Not positive inches in ease, but positive stitches in ease. So, but yes, if you have some yarn that you want to go ahead and get started, fine. And then, of course, you're going to just work it as just like I shared with you. And we are working down to the sleeve. The first number, or the first place that we want to work and come back and compare notes and look at the sample is when we reach the sleeve count. Well, after I thought about it, I thought, well, you know, since the old neck didn't work for this style sweater, this is going to be the style for anything that I want to put where we're going to have just a lace neckline or a textured neckline or something else other than just a 1x1 ribbing or 2x2. All right, so I thought, you know what, the sleeves will, they'll probably, that sleeve, what we're used to making with the cardigan, probably won't fit either because we changed the top of the sleeve count. So let me share with you my working formula for how I use the math to come up with a new sleeve count for each size. All right, take a look at this and then I'll be right back and show you that. All right, so I am back. I have worked up a new formula sheet for my sleeves for this style sweater. This is not the cardigan that we already, that we've worked before. All right, from medium to large, I simply want you to knit until you have the stitch count that's highlighted in yellow. So a medium to large, you're going to knit, continue to knit, and every once in a while you have to stop and count your sleeve. When you get to 46 stitches, stop and wait for me there. 1x to 2x, that's me. I'm going to go up to 48 stitches, stop and wait. 2x to 3x, 50 stitches. 3x to 4x, 52 stitches. And I'll make sure that you get a good screen copy of this so that you can make sure you put it in with your schematic. And this is the sleeve count that I think will work, or I believe, or just by math, that will work for this style sweater. So take a look at it. All right, now let's just talk about where I'm real excited because I really felt, I don't know, I just got excited to maybe do a different neckline and do something different. So just a recap, a quick recap of where we came from. We started this whole project or idea with a swatch. So this is Jay's Summer School for Stitching. It's Jay's Summer School for Stitching, but this project is from a swatch to a sweater. I'm sharing with you the steps, how we've gone from this simple swatch that I just worked for you on the previous video, showing you how easy it is. And like I said, this is a very easy stitch, people. But now we are actually start working with the new formula for this new style sweater that I hope will work, or that many of you will like. I think it's going to be a lot faster too than the cardigan style. I don't know, it just seemed like, because I was just going to do a little bit and show you. Next thing I know, I just kept knitting. I thought, man, this is so easy. So, but you're going to have plenty of opportunity and room to suggest or ask me questions or give your opinion or whatever you think. But by all means, decide if you'd like to make this sweater from a swatch to a sweater here at Jay's Knit and Purl Jam. So, all right, that's where we're going to end this video. You have the number that's highlighted. That's where you just stop, count your sleeve, and see if you're there, and just stop and wait for me there on part 2. And I will make sure that I give the same thumbnail. In fact, I might make this picture right here the thumbnail picture, so that, and then I'll put on the thumbnail part 1 so that you can always find part 2, so, because I'm going to do something in between. I may do something next week while I'm still working on this, or I'll just see. What do you think? Are you enjoying going to summer school? It's hot, hot, hot here. All of a sudden we went from cool to hot, but I hope you're enjoying summer school. I hope that it's gonna help improve your skills, and we're gonna learn and grow as we go. So this is Jay. I will see you shortly as I work my sweater up to my sleeve count, and I'll stop and I'll wait for you there too. All right, take care. Back in just a bit for part 2.